Assalamu alaikum participants, how are you all? I hope I am audible and my screen is visible to everyone. If you have any problems, you can type in the chat box and let me know. I welcome everyone here and we have Chris with us. So in this showcasing, we are going to introduce all participants in the course format with everyone and course material and what were the assignments of this course, what were your final projects and innovations you designed. I would like to invite Mr. Christopher to discuss and tell you about the significance of Jolly Phonics program. Hi, Chris. I hope.
Hello, Fatima. Hello. And hello to everyone here. It's wonderful to be transported to Pakistan all of a sudden. And I hope you're all very well. What funny times we're in, but sometimes things throw out new opportunities, as now, and that suddenly I can be, well, chatting with you and giving a presentation and being open to feedback as well. And that's really nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So what I would like to do is to just give you some background. You have with Fatima and of course with others, people of profound understanding of Jolly Phonics and who have the experience and the skills to train and to show and to teach and to achieve incredible results with children in all situations, and that's just amazing. So what I can do is give some of the background, and that's what I'll do now. Some of the background in terms of how the program developed, what was the background to that, what sort of results can be achieved, so what do we learn from research, and just a glance at some of the resources, and to talk about the training as well. So to do that, let me share my screen and let me take us through with this. So, so that's me. And what we do is about teaching reading and writing and doing it so it really works well. Now, the effect of Jolly Phonics has been to change the way things are done and to change them around the world. And it's very hard to underestimate this impact. It's meant that we take a very different way to how we teach reading, and it has an enormous impact on what they can achieve. Historically, everyone's view was that teaching started by learning the alphabet, A, B, C. And that's very implanted in our minds. And still I find I go to classrooms and things all start with the alphabet. But in practice, that's a poor guide. And sometimes when I go to classes and I go to teachers and I say, well, what do we call when we're teaching reading, what do we call the first letter of the alphabet? And I get people say A and people say ah. And I say, okay, well, which one or both? But of course, if you use A and you get a word like k-a-t, and you say, well, what's that? People say, well, it's cat. Well, I say, it can't be. Because if it's k-8, it becomes Kate. And of course, that's the girl's name. And so using the names is a poor guide. And so we're now about teaching the sounds. And also, instead of just guessing, instead of just memorizing, we're now about the whole process of blending for reading. K-a-t makes cat. And we're about segmenting for spelling. So we break down a word that's spoken, like cat, and we say it's got three sounds, k, and a and t. In the case of k, we have to say, is it a curly k, or is it a kicking k? Is it a C or a K? But what are the results? And we'll talk about this a bit more, but it is that they just learn so much faster. They happen with Jolly Phonics to enjoy it, and we found that they all succeed. So we find that children who come from backgrounds where there are not a lot of books in the house, where they don't have English as a first language, and for boys just the same as girls, we find that the success is very broad. So that's fun. So that's a bit about what has changed. And let me introduce you to the authors. And some of you may have heard them on presentations. They're very willing souls and giving presentations, and they're both of them enormously personal and effective. So Sue Lloyd was really the person who came up with this. Or in a way, I should say, it was collectively she and her colleagues at her school who brought about the changes. And Sarah Wernham was somebody who joined the school as a new teacher at about the time that I got involved with them. And she has been the inspiration and the author particularly for all the Jolly Grammar. So now, way back, I met Sue Lloyd, and we met at a little conference, and she was explaining to me how she got outstanding results, but she couldn't get anyone to listen. And she felt it wasn't just because she was a good teacher, all very nice, it was actually because of the method she used. And to people in authority, really, because she was getting good results, she wasn't a problem. So they didn't need to do anything. And of course, from my point of view as a publisher, that became wasn't a problem. On the contrary, it was an opportunity. So the question was, did it work? And so we did piloting in schools. We had it as a research project with the university. It became a thesis subject for somebody. And we found at the end that it did indeed. And we launched it. And it had helped me in terms of deciding what was this to look like. And it meant that it should be looking like a resource book for teachers with photocopy masters. And so it was. We launched the Phonics Handbook. And we were fortunate that it was a time of debate about teaching reading. And this book got itself onto breakfast television at the end of a whole program, and we just took off something unbelievable. And I would tell a bit more about some of the responses. But it was following on from that, we encouraged its use in research and the publishing of that research. And on our website, we have about 22 academic studies from 15 countries, including from Pakistan. And the Clackmannanshire one is one that I'll talk just a little bit more about, because it's probably been the most influential study of all on around the world in the teaching of reading. The term that's now used for the methodology behind Jolly Phonics is that it's called synthetic phonics. And that was a term championed by the researchers in the Clackmannanshire study. And that term you'll find around a lot. And broadly, it just means that you teach the letter sounds, and then you teach blending for reading and segmenting for spelling, and the children do well. And so that's become now policy in many countries, including the UK, and following on from that, and has been the acceptance of grammar. And grammar meaning more than just parts of speech. Grammar meaning spelling rules, meaning punctuation, meaning an awareness of tenses and all sorts of structures within language, superlatives, comparatives, all sorts. And that's very helpful. So it means that we can now look at a time when the skills of learning language are taught. We're used to children learning the skills of maths, about it being able to add and subtract, divide, and so forth. People hadn't been so aware of the need to teach the skills for language, but now that is normal. That is part of what it is all about. So I mentioned the Phonics Handbook. This is where it started and where we've gone from here. And you'll see the delightful quotation there by Professor Alice Coleman. And I remember at the time thinking, Alice, that's very kind of you, but really, and yet in fact, it has turned out to be so. It has had a profound impact. Now, this is a picture from within the Clackmannanshire study. So this is a teacher, Annette, and here she's teaching the children the sounds for the digraph, IE, which you can see she's holding a flashcard with that. And the children are all pretending that they're like sailors, and they're lifting up their hand to their head as if they're saluting. Fairly funny way of saluting, of course, and they're a bit sort of, some do it better than others. But anyhow, that's not the point. They're saluting there, and they are, and they're saying "I, I." So they're getting the idea that those two letters put together say "I." And with it, they're getting the idea that they're learning sounds, not so much learning letters, and that some of the letters are digraphs, so that some of them are two letters, and they're getting that. And they're learning one a day. And those children were then compared with children who had been taught in the traditional way, which is that they had been taught the alphabet, typically at a slower pace than one a day per letter. And then they were being in the situation of being asked whether they could read and write and given tests on this. Well, the result was that these little children just did incredibly well. And the children who'd been taught the alphabet, they were still struggling. And so to have a look at some of the results we can do as well. But just to explain, there were 3 schools using Jolly Phonics and 3 using the national guidance. And it was a study taking a year. And what we found, firstly, after 28 weeks, so that's almost a year, both groups were of the same, the children were the same age in both groups. They were, at the end of the study, both groups, the children were 5 years and 8 months. So they'd started a year before when, on average, they were 4 years old. They're about 4 years, 10 months when it started. And then at the end, or towards the end, when they're now 5 years, 8 months, this is the children. And they were tested. And they were tested and given to find a reading age. And for the children in the control group, their reading age was the same as their actual age. It was 5 years and 8 months. But for the children in the Jolly Phonics group, their reading age was a year ahead. The reading age was 6 years, 8 months, while their actual age, again, was 5 years, 8 months. These children had learnt twice as fast. They had a reading age that was 12 months ahead of their chronological age. And the implication was that if you had switched the teachers or switched the children, the results would have been the same. The groups were matched. The difference had been caused not by differences in the teachers or by differences in the children, but by the differences in the method by which they'd been taught. And the effect of that was to have a profound influence in attitudes across the UK. And these were just some of the headlines and some of the articles that occurred at the time. And this was part of the public interest that was aroused by all this, which led to the change in government policy and a realization that the old way really was not the best way for children. That here was a change that came without cost and yet could make such a profound difference in what children could achieve. And just to summarize again the results, it is firstly that the children learn twice as fast, that after 1 year they can have a reading age that's a year ahead of their chronological age. But the other result is that it reaches all children, that they can all do well, whatever their background might be. And that therefore is profoundly important. It means that the opportunities and the expectations you can have for a child in, say, a rural area in Pakistan is just as high as may be achieved by a child in an English first language country who has a lot more resources. Now, let me just say something about the resources that are available. And in the top row there in the middle, you can see the Phonics Handbook, which was one of them. But there's a huge range. And over on the top left there, there's the Jolly Phonics Starter Kit. And that, for many schools, is where they start. They get a very full set of resources there, including big books, readers, posters for the wall, flashcards. The Phonics Handbook is in there. And it means that they can teach with confidence and achieve outstanding results. And not included in the starter kit is, over on the right-hand side, is the pupil books. There are 3 there for the children to cover the course of the year, and a teacher's book. And again, on the top row is the whiteboard software, which isn't in the starter kit. So that's where the school's got a whiteboard. And that becomes absolutely essential for the teachers to take them through, because it provides such wonderful lesson planning. And lower down there are items which are very popular. So if they're included in the starter kit, the big Phonics big books are, and the readers are, but which you may just wish to have anyhow if funds are limited. Again, it's more than just going straight into storybooks. It is this process of learning the letter sounds first and practicing them before children do go into the readers. And for the readers, the very important bit is that the readers should be using words that can be sounded out and blended from the skills that have been taught. They're what's called decodable readers. And this is really important, that you use decodable readers and tie them in with a scheme by which they've been taught the letter sound, so that what is in one then comes to the other. So the choice of digraphs, for instance, coordinates. In our case, the red is the simplest for children at an early stage, and the blue is later. And we now even have some that are before the red. More you see here, so posters, flashcards, and the puppets. Workbooks more for use at home, but they can be used in school. And Jolly songs, you see in the audio, and many of you may well know the Jolly songs. They seem to be very pervasive, and of course, and the Jolly Phonics Extra is really a remedial program for children who need extra help. It's particularly suitable for use at home for parents who are well resourced, if you like, but want their children to do well. And it also has a talking pen, so the children can touch places in the books and get it to be spoken out for them, which is really impressive. Changes that we have, which are coming through now, is that we're changing the logo. So you see there the new logo coming out in products now. And we've also developed the designs. So you see there a new design within the pupil books. And one small feature there you can just see on the top right-hand corner of that sheet is the letter I. This is because I is a tricky word. You'll have seen in the classroom in Clackmannanshire, we normally teach I as IE, as in tie and lie. But it's also the word for I, meaning somebody, meaning me. And it's in the shape of the tricky word flower, which is the device we use to give it some charm. So this shows the point at which a tricky word like I can be first introduced, at the time that the letter sound sh is being taught. So these are some that have come more recently, and the little word books and the orange readers are really charming. I'm just so pleased at what my team have created. And they are for the very early stages. So these are children who have just learnt not even all of the letter sounds. And so the earliest of these books can be used, and children can be in the situation of seeing words which are regular, and which they can sound out and blend. And they get such motivation from being able to read a word, and read words they may not have seen before, and where they can relate them to the pictures and feel that they're getting into books, and books become exciting. There's things happening in the books that go beyond what they're used to. It opens up new worlds for them. I just want to say a few words about the grammar. So this takes us then from that first year of using Jolly Phonics. Now I say the first year, some people I know take 2 years in teaching Jolly Phonics, but where possible, we encourage all those letter sounds to be taught and the segmenting and blending in that first year, particularly if the schooling is full-time. And from then, the teaching goes on to Jolly Grammar, and that is a program that extends not every day of teaching in the week, typically 2, but it extends through all the way through the primary year, so for another 6 years. And in this, the children are taught these kind of features that you see here, all a great deal of depth of the skills of and the structure of the English language. And the result is that at the end of primary, the children have an ability with language that is just so impressive. They can express themselves, they can write, and they can write well. I remember giving a training in your part of the world where I was talking to parents at a private school about what the teaching involved and how it went. And at the end, one of the parents came up to me and she explained that she was a pediatrician at the local hospital. So she was somebody of enormous skill. And she said to me that her primary school daughter corrects her English. And she's happy with that. And so her daughter was learning about the use of language and the pronunciation with more, and of course at an earlier age than her mother had. And so she was able to do well. And of course, that's very motivating for the young daughter as well, to find that she does understand that it's going to open up things for her so much. So that's something about grammar. And it comes with handbooks for each of those years. It comes with pupil and teacher books, with big books for the teaching, and finally with a really charming dictionary, illustrated, and with a pronunciation guide that children do find really fascinating. I said I'd say a few words about training, and the aim, of course, is to enable yourselves as teachers to achieve well, to do so with confidence, to be able to respond to parents and the issues they may raise, and to work with children who are coming through, those who struggle and find it harder perhaps, and those who just take it so readily. And there's all sorts of ways in which we provide the information and the guidance and the training. So clearly it's in the manuals of various sorts we have, the teachers' books and the Phonics Handbook. We provide a wealth of material on our website. The Jolly Phonics videos that you can access from our website, or you just put Jolly Phonics into YouTube. So a lot of scouring around. You can get lecture training from face-to-face from a trainer, which is what we're doing now, and which is how people traditionally see training, and of course it's very effective. Another option that you have is to take the online course on Jolly Phonics that's available from CPD College, and again you can find information on that from the training button on our website, or just put in Jolly Phonics CPD College, CPD standing for Continuous Professional Development. And they do a lot of courses, of which Jolly Phonics is one. It is 20 hours of study, divided up into 5 modules, and you have a facilitator who works with you. And it is a paid-for service. And the content is very rich. There is a huge amount in that course. And it supplements what you may get from elsewhere. And then I also would say that as part of your training and your becoming professionally aware, to take the opportunity to see what competitors say, relate what advice they give to the advice we give. it isn't so much that we conflict, it's that we may put different emphasis, we may have different features that we include, but it helps to give you a breadth of what there is. And you can judge people from this, but having the broader feel, and also the comments of academics. And historically, it's just so interesting to see how attitudes have changed so much, and how our, as a teaching community, how much our awareness has improved over the years. The insights that you are working with now are ones that are astoundingly much better than the ones that teachers everywhere had 20 years ago, for instance. So there's changes there, and they're positive. And let me also take the opportunity just to talk about what it is to become a Jolly Phonics trainer. And we're fortunate to have many Jolly Phonics trainers in Pakistan, and Fatima has been an outstanding one. One of the things is that there's much more to being a trainer than simply what you can pick up at training. Curiously, perhaps, trainers are, to a large extent, self-taught. And by self-taught, that includes what people pick up from within the classroom, from their own experience. As they often say, as a teacher, you'll be taught. You learn from teaching, but that experience is enormously valuable. So you will have taught with the program for time, and so you'll have had amazing results, and you're likely to have adapted it and shown initiative. For instance, particularly in the games and activities, the way in which you might teach something. There's not a monopoly here on good understanding, and there's not a straitjacket. These are principles which can be used and in different ways by different people. And you may very well have been giving training already. And this is very much a role about enabling achievement much more widely by teachers, and extending what they can do. And the nature of the teaching profession is such that continuous development, continuous training is part of the process. And indeed, in terms of effectiveness for the time devoted, continuous development, training during a teaching career is actually much more effective in terms of the return for the time given than even the original teacher training in college. It is this continuous training which can be so enormously effective. And that's precisely what, of course, we're doing here. So that's really to give you an outline of where we are, looking at various different aspects. And obviously, I hope that's been particularly helpful. And let me now return to being on the screen with you all, as it were. So I hope that's been helpful. And again, it's just been a great pleasure being with you, and my thanks to Fatima for having included me here. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Chris. It's appreciating that you are here with us. It's a small bunch of teachers from around the world, and I must appreciate them all. We have got school heads with us, coordinators, curriculum planners from different parts of the world, and you would be amazed to know that they spent 2 months together. They did lots of peer and group works. They practiced blending. They did work on pupil books, and you would love to know more about their achievements in this course. So I would like to discuss, that what was our course format. It was the first batch that was organized with another Montessori Institute in Pakistan, that's Global Montessori Coaching Institute, GMCI. Its logo is over there on that side. So we did some projects. They created some activities, some games, some video tutorials for their share. They wanted to add this in the existing literature of Jolly Phonics. And they have got future plans of Jolly Grammar. We are going to switch to this course, to the Jolly Grammar Intensive Course as well.
Good. I'm really pleased to hear that. Yeah, no, that would stand them in very good stead. Yeah.
In this course, we had Zoom sessions where we discussed everything. We started from Pupil Book 1, and then we covered all of Pupil Book 2, and we covered readers as well. We had WhatsApp sessions for assignments and tasks and blending activities, and we used teachers' book extensively. And we used sound
Good.
scripts, and all of the teachers were in groups to practice the lessons given to them. We discuss KWL, what they know, what they wanted to know, and what they have learned every day, every day.
Right.
Yeah, and basically, course material was black and white teacher's book and the book 1 and book 2. And
Yep.
you would be delighted to know that they planned budget for their schools, they planned curriculum for average budget school, below average, very low budget schools, high budget schools, and the schools which have no budget at all. It was their assignment, one of their assignment. So they designed
Mhm.
booklets, and they practice sounds every day. They discuss all the books page by page, and then at the end they prepared their final project. They also worked on assessments, and they used the material given by Sue Lloyd on the website. They used the checklist, they used steps of teaching reading and writing. And I would I would like to tell you that we have got three schools with us: Redwood International Schools, Aurora International School, and Elysian School from Gilgit Baltistan, the far corner of Pakistan.
Oh,
And
yes.
yeah, and Aurora International is going to use Jolly Phonics program in this year for their whole school, and in the future we can see that it's going to be our model school, inshallah. So yeah,
Lovely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Alhamdulillah.
yeah. So we have got individual participants. We have got Sabine here. Rabel is, I must appreciate her because she is going to have her operation today. And we have Lubna Mahmood from UAE. We have got Asma Jabin. We have got Sara Nasir. And we have got Redwood International participants Zebun Nisa, Sara Babar, Mariam Nakvi, Samina Yaqub, and Bushra Ali from Redwood International School. From Gilgit Baltistan, Elysian, Ms. Shagufta, Ms. Shamim, Ms. Sara, their director Altaf Hussain, and we have a special participant, Jyotsna. She is teaching Jolly Grammar from the past 10 to 15 years in India. She would like to say hi to you as well. And then we have got Mehve Shamir, Taiba Rahman, Hassan Raza, Saira Chika, Ilaf, Kunut, Mehvish, Wajid Ali, Maida, Nabiha, Safa, Rida, Sadia, and Somya. I want to name them all because their contribution is enormous in this course, and they would also like to share their insights and their views on this course because it was the first ever batch where they did everything possible, and they explored this online medium. They worked hard in Zoom session, they give demo lessons, they tried to share their working videos of their school environments as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, in their final projects, they have produced different activities, games, lesson plans, videos, and even posters. They try to mix and match different activities that are already available so that they could add valuable items in the existing literature of the Jolly Phonics program. We started on 4th of January, and we are just concluding this whole 2 months course, and inshallah we are going to move towards Jolly Grammar Intensive Course in our future. So now I would like to invite Taiba. Taiba, can you please unmute yourself and share your views?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. Fatima, you are such really a nice lady. Here is Tayyeba. I would like to share my experience that I am so happy that we successfully completed this effective course. I am really impressed by Ma'am Fatima, how she smartly handled everything and how she developed skills. Okay, and her teaching method is also very effective. I learned a lot in this intensive course. This unique experience really developed a great confidence in myself that now I am ready to teach the young one's mind very effectively. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you.
Thank you, Taiba. Chris,
Thank
I
you,
would like
Tara.
to I would like to tell you that Taiba is a teacher or a curriculum planner from Multan. Taiba, could you please correct me if I'm wrong?
No, I'm from Khamuki,
From
district
Kanpur.
Gujranwala.
Yeah, it's a far corner, and I really appreciate her. She's working hard on her students, and her 3.5 around 3.5 aged children are on reading pattern. She has given me a student named Hassan, and I would love to share his videos with you. He's an excellent reader. She is working for the past 2 to 3 years on this area. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you, Taiba. Now, I would like to invite Somya to discuss her experience with us. Somya, could you please tell us more about yourself and your experience with the Jolly Phonics program?
जी, Assalamu alaikum. Somia here. First of all, Jolly Phonics methodology is a complete shift of teaching English from analytic phonics to synthetic phonics. So this 8 weeks Jolly Phonics intensive course was designed and delivered in a manner that gradually affects the learners mind through multi-sensory activities, and we done a lot of activities during this course. It was not only a training, in fact, it was a gradual transformation to learn and teach English through Jolly Phonics methodology. And hands off to Miss Fatima to Zahra. She delivered the content of this training in a very effective way through individual, pair, and group activities. The best part of this course was the group presentations, in which we involved and learned a lot of other things, and lesson plans and everything. This is all about from my side, and this is my experience with this. But as well as the projects are concerned, we gradually moved to our final project, and we further learned many things while doing that project. So if I think, ma'am, should I discuss regarding project right now, or it would
Yes,
be
you can
later?
discuss. You can discuss now.
Okay, so this project, the final project was actually it was again a self-evaluation process. It was we evaluated ourselves, what we were before that training and what we are now. So the steps of this project was basically introduction of ourselves and our organization profile and overview for our all assignments, and the report and lessons learned, recommendations and suggestions what we learned during this course. And finally we worked our working pictures, we compiled everything in this final project, and the group activities as well. So lot of groups and individual works are there, and there are some creativity during this project. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Somya. Chris, I will share some of the project with you, and you would love to have them on your website as well. I would like to invite Ms. Zebunnisa from Redwood International. Would you like to say something about your ventures?
Assalamu alaikum. I hope you all must be doing good. So Christoph, it's really good to have you here. Um, yes, definitely. So far, I hope I'm audible. I'm
Oh, yeah.
sure. Oh, that's good.
Yes, yes.
No doubt, as Miss Somia said, that we had an amazingly chronologically well-structured training program. And the way Miss Fatima has done the training, that's remarkably outstanding. Um, I will not take long to speak about it, but the thing which I'd like to emphasize is definitely we were taught about 5 basic skills. We were taught how the words are supposed to be constructed phonetically. Some are regular, some are irregular. Speaking of that, there are many other things which I'd like to focus upon. That Jolly Phonics is, first of all, definitely one of the most effective methodology of introducing sound and how the blends are done and the way a child becomes independently able to read. Besides that, a child becomes a very confident reader, which enhances his comprehension skills. Apart from that, I'm sure you all must agree that the best thing about Jolly Phonics is the handwriting. Definitely, Jolly Phonics is about um, pronouncing the words correctly and sounding the letters. That's a good idea. But what I found it more effective is also the handwriting, the strategies, how a word is supposed to be constructed, or letter formations. That is something which I, Miss Fatima, really admire and appreciate, of course. And along with that, the tricky word, as Sir Christopher was saying about the tricky words, most of the people here around Pakistan are not familiar with what is tricky word. Words are words. What makes them tricky? I'll definitely be speaking about it later. But even myself, I've learned so much new. Like, I wasn't familiar with the caterpillar cur, the kicking cur, and the double trouble cur. These were really new for me because I never realized that yes, there is a reason why cur all sounding the same are used so differently in different spellings. I learned it myself while I was planning the presentation, and which Miss Fatima, the whole credit goes to her. She has given us the platform where we could explore. I am an inquisitive person by nature, but I was told to make a presentation about this kicking caterpillar and double trouble that's what made me really confident about how I will be introducing this concept to my children. So it has been a remarkably amazing session for me and for my colleagues as well. Thank you, Ms. Fatima. I hope we'll be having much more to learn in
Yes,
future
yes.
too.
Thank you so much. It was lovely to be with all of you.
It's lovely to hear, Zaid, too. I'm really pleased it's been working so well for you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's so nice of you.
Lovely to be with you, Zabe. Zabe, could you please let us know about what you did in your tricky word presentation? You did a demo lesson and it was liked by everyone.
Oh yeah, thank you. That's something which I wasn't expecting. I just made it very ordinary because, as I told you earlier, that can I share my screen over here?
Yes, you can share your screen. And at the end of your demo, I will tell you people a secret where I was at that time.
Okay, okay. I'm just going to begin this session. This from the beginning. If I hope you won't mind. Well, this was about tricky words. Um, and as I said earlier, like the way I learned myself about cur, I learned a lot about the tricky words as well. Although a surprising number of English words are regular and many commonly used words like I, the, was, you are irregular. In Jolly Phonics, these are called tricky words. Tricky words. What makes them tricky? It's very interesting that these words cannot be blended phonetically. Okay, so the child, associates the pronunciation of the word with the initial sound of the letter of the word. Okay, as you can see over here, the word wall. Now, I really love this fact that Jolly Phonics facilitate the teachers by providing them with a range of flowers. Now, what are these flowers? These are 72 tricky words, which enables a child to read independently later on. As you can see over here, these flowers are each are blue, yellow, green, pink, orange, red. So of different colors, but each color has 12 flowers. Okay. Now, these flowers are introduced through different readers. Okay. First is the blue one over here, and the reader emphasizes on these tricky words. Now, what is the significance of tricky words? Why do we need to introduce tricky words to the children? And why is it important? Very simple and very easy. This enables the child to be an independent reader. They can easily begin reading books. That's what Sir Christoph said, that the 5 years age group, the reason why the ones who were using Jolly Phonics, they were ahead, 1 year ahead than the others, was because of they were familiar with blending with the tricky words. Now, the tricky words are introduced after the children have done all the letter sounds and the blends. They can learn the Jolly Phonics 72 tricky words using these AV-aids, which can be the flashcards, the flowers, which are displayed in the classroom as a resource. They can learn them through a saying or a fun activity like mnemonics. The best part about what makes Jolly Phonics amazing and really attractive for the students are the songs. You know, every letter has a song, or every long vowel, short vowel has a song. And next, there are many worksheets available for these 72 tricky words. And on these worksheets, children can read, find, write. There, I will be discussing the strategies how to introduce these tricky words to children. Children can write spelling easily. That's what makes them outstanding, that a child is not only familiar with the tricky word, he can write without looking or without copying it. Okay, and they can pronounce the phonic sounds. This was one of the way. And as I said earlier, that I'll be letting you about the 6 techniques for teaching. I will not be going in further detail. I'll be just briefly telling you: look, copy, cover, write, and check is the first strategy, in which the child is shown the word and is encouraged to look closely. What's the initial sound? And like I said, what is a word in which the first sound is w. That's correct, but the second becomes that what makes it tricky. And a over here is sounded as o, what. So the child will look at it and the teacher is going to erase it. The child will copy it down and will write it. And then after that, he's going to relate or check whatever he wrote or she wrote is exactly spelled the same way, the way the teacher showed. That's one of the way. Second is word wall, as I showed you in the picture earlier. The flowers of different colors are displayed in the classroom for the facilitation of the students, and say it as it sounds. Like in was, the child will say it as was, was. But then they will get to know it's not was, it's was. Okay, the child understands it. Now, word families, like be, me, we, she, he, are ending at e sounds. Okay, the children associates that, okay, these letters are having letter E in the end, which is not e sounded, but it's E. So that's one way. And vowels are also a helpful hint for spellings. And does it look right? I mean, once the child has written the spelling, as I've said earlier, the best thing is the child writes very nicely. The child writes it down and figures it out. Okay, does it look right or wrong? So that's their inquisitive nature to figure it out, and then they identify. So this was, I've summed it up very quickly, trying to make sure that I don't miss out much about the tricky words, Miss Fatima. I hope that's.
Yes, excellent presentation. You have covered
I'm
every
sorry I had to hurry because I'm sure there must be other sessions as well.
problem because you have covered everything because it was the hot topic during our course. Thank you so
Yes, it has been.
Thank you so much, Zeb. Now, I would like to invite
Welcome, ma'am.
Sabine. Sabine, could you please unmute yourself? Or I should. Sabine, yes, try to unmute yourself. Okay, so I must appreciate Sabine as well because she was all the time saying, "Ma'am, I can't do this. Ma'am, I'm just a mother. I'm not a teacher. Ma'am, I can't do this." But she did very well. Yes, Sabine, you can discuss your experience.
Thank you, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum, dear all. Can you hear me?
Yes, indeed. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Fatma.
Thank you so much. I'm very amazed that we all successfully completed this course, which is very highly effective. And it's a wonderful experience for me as a mother, because I'm not a professionalist, and I am a housewife, and I thought that I can't do this, but now I can say that I can teach my son very expertly after this course.
That's good.
So much, Sabine. Thank you so much. I must appreciate. And Chris, we are all very much thankful to you as well, because I think that you have supported Sue Lloyd, and because of this support, now all the teachers, all the parents, all the children who were struggling to read and write in English language are getting benefit all over the world. So globally, it's a success. One of my students was exposed to the analytic phonics, and when I start teaching him through Jolly Phonics, he was just crazy about it. He was all the time smiling. He was all the time saying, "I wanted to say." I wanted to say snake is in the grass. So he was very young at that time, but I know that we love Jolly Phonics. We really love it. So
It's really lovely. No, I'm very impressed at what you've been doing, Fatima, and to all of you there. You've obviously really applied yourself to all of this and come with an open mind, but with a determination to learn and to be able to use what you've been doing. And it'll of course have such a benefit to the children and in the community. It's very heartwarming indeed, and I do congratulate you all. I probably should wander on now, and I hope you'll forgive me if I leave you now. And thank you, Fatima, again very much for having invited me.
so much. We have only one participant from India. She has also done CPD course, and she is teaching and using Jolly Phonics program in her school for many years. She just wanted to say hi.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, Josina, can you please unmute yourself?
Huh. Yes, Fatima, thank you. Hi, Chris.
Hello, Jyotsna. Yes.
Nice to see you. It's a very nice experience when I'm going through the course. What I felt is Suloy and Sarah had done a fabulous job. What is their view? What I feel is it's not that delivering the stories or anything to the child. Their view is different with the story, with the comprehension. We can add numbers into it. We can add EVS into it. We can add the comprehension. We can make the child independent.
Yeah, kids are becoming very independent in this way, and just
That's
that
lovely.
time.
Yes. Yeah, so the children feel that confidence and they can do it themselves. Wonderful.
Yes, they can do it by themselves. And not only that, we can develop their drawing skills. We can develop their creative skills. Lot of things are there where we can implement in this course. It's not only the sounds.
Yes,
Yeah,
kids
yeah.
are becoming.
Good. Incidentally, Sarah Wernham is giving a presentation in India this weekend for
Yes.
Books. Books. If you go to their website, possibly it's on our website as well, actually. But you may know this already. But I mean, I know you'd just be very, be interested to see her. And this is particularly on grammar, of course.
Yeah. But one request, what I want to give you, if whether it's request or anything, what you think?
Yeah, no, I'm really pleased. Which part of India are you in?
From Bangalore, Karnataka.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
What I want, can you give the rights? Because we run a Montessori school. Okay. Montessori school, in that Jolly Phonics, we had made a part of it. Okay. We made the part of it. We have to give training to teachers in our school because we can't send them always to affiliated trainers. Can you grant some what we say rights that schools also can be affiliated teachers like that, something, so that we can train and we can give certification to our teachers?
I think, Josna, you can always teach your train your teachers after getting training. So if you have the right,
You don't need, that's right, you don't need to hold back. You're welcome to give training at any time. I realize that there can be, we can help and facilitate through the posts of being a trainer or whatever it may be as certificates, but don't feel you have to hold back anyhow. And of course, you can feel free to organize a webinar just like this one,
yeah,
and to invite Sue or Sarah or myself to participate. Our interest is simply that enabling teachers everywhere to achieve with this and be supportive.
yeah.
So I'll
Not
leave
only
you with that thought.
individual, but the schools also should be in that, so that
Yeah. Anyhow, I wish you well in Bangalore. I've enjoyed walking around Cubbin Park myself, and it's nice to have the contact with you.
Yeah, she's
Oh,
done.
Fatima, should I leave you now then?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for your time and being there.
Yeah, and thank you again for inviting me, and it has been a great pleasure to be joining you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye.
Okay, so my dear participants, it was very much exhausting. I can understand that everyone was very much busy, and you were there typing and preparing your portfolios, and uh, I must appreciate your efforts, everything, and I really enjoyed being with you people. Now I'm checking your materials, your portfolios, your projects, and your assignments. You have done a great job, and I would love to upload your materials on our websites and YouTube channels. I will share my YouTube channel link with you. I will share all the video recordings, but with some editing. I'm not going to share complete recordings, and I would love to take your suggestions as well. If any one of you want to say anything, please raise your hand, and I think that I will try to change the settings so that you could unmute yourself. Actually, because of the guest, we need to be very careful so that there could be any noise or any other sound. So that's why I keep you muted. I really apologize for this. So if any one of you have any questions, and if any one of you have any suggestion, you are welcome to share it. Otherwise, I will end this meeting. Thank you. So I can see that we don't have any other question at the moment. So it was very much clear. Is there anyone asking for assignment today?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Ji ma'am, I have a suggestion.
Yes.
Because I observed this is a very transformational course. So there would be a huge awareness, like teachers are not trained. This methodology is very effective in learning and teaching English. And I think there should be the awareness sessions all over the Pakistan. So because being living in Pakistan, I think we don't have the proper application of this course. So this is the suggestion from my side.
सौम्या यू आर राइट और आप सब ने फील किया होगा कि जब भी मैं आपकी असाइनमेंट्स देखती थी, आपकी चीज़ें नोट करती थी, मैं आपसे कहती थी कि इट्स नॉट जॉली फोनिक्स ना। बहुत सारे लोगों को शायद मेरी बात बुरी लगी हो। मैंने बहुत दफ़ा बहुत सारी चीज़ों के बारे में कहा कि फ़ॉन्ट साइज़ चेंज करें, आप इस चीज़ को रिमूव करें, इस चीज़ को ऐड करें, सिर्फ इस वजह से कि फेक जॉली फोनिक्स मटीरियल भी बहुत ज़्यादा आना शुरू हो गया है। बहुत से लोग हैं ऐसे जो जॉली फोनिक्स के ट्रेनर्स नहीं हैं, उनको कुछ भी नहीं पता वो जॉली फोनिक्स की ट्रेनिंग्स करवा रहे रहे हैं। और इस तरह से बहुत सारे कोर्सेज ऐसे हो चुके हैं, डिज़ाइन हो गए हैं, सिर्फ जॉली फॉनिक्स के सॉन्ग्स और एक्शंस को लेकर लोग बहुत सारा मटेरियल यूज़ कर रहे हैं। तो मेरी कोशिश आप सबके साथ ये थी कि मैं आपको प्योर जॉली फॉनिक्स टेक्निक सिखा दूं, आपके पास बुक्स और मटेरियल फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट भेजा गया, ताकि आप देखें, इंजॉय करें कि रियल में जॉली फॉनिक्स की मेथोडोलॉजी में और बाकी मेथोडोलॉजी में कितना डिफरेंस है। अब देखते हैं कि डिफरेंट चीज़ें, डिफरेंट बुक्स मार्केट में मौजूद होती हैं, लेकिन जॉली फॉनिक्स थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट प्रोग्राम है, और उसके डिफरेंट होने की सबसे बड़ी वजह उसका सक्सेस रेट है। आप देखिए, अगर आप फिर वही प्रोग्राम यूज कर लेते हैं, आप जॉली फॉनिक्स को दूसरे प्रोग्राम से मिक्स कर लेते हैं मेथोडोलॉजी को, तो फिर आपका सक्सेस रेट कम हो जाएगा ना। हमारी सक्सेस क्या है? रीडिंग, राइटिंग, लर्निंग ऑफ इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज। तो इसलिए हमारे लिए बहुत जरूरी है कि हम जॉली फॉनिक्स के ऊपर, जिसे कहते हैं ना, स्टिक कर जाएं, चिपक जाएं बिल्कुल, कि हमने कोई और चीज के साथ इसको ब्लेंड नहीं करना, मिक्स नहीं करना। ठीक है? एनीथिंग एल्स?
मैम, ड्रॉप बॉक्स के बारे में पूछना था कि उसमें वो जो टास्क हमने ऐड किए हैं, उनका क्या मतलब, आप कैसे वहीं से चेक कर लेंगी या क्या होगा?
हमारा जो ग्राफिक डिजाइनर है, ठीक है, कुछ लोग नहीं डाल पाए, कुछ लोगों ने मुझे ईमेल्स की है, कुछ लोगों ने मुझे व्हाट्सएप की है, कुछ लोगों ने मुझे कोरियर करवा दी है। ठीक है, मैं आप सबको एक बात बता दूं, सबसे अहम बात यह है कि मैंने आप लोगों को इसलिए रश किया था ताकि अगर किसी की कोई मिस्टेक है, किसी को कोई करेक्शन करनी है, एडिटिंग करनी है, तो हम उसको साथ साथ देख लें, क्योंकि ये जो सारा काम है सिर्फ मेरा नहीं है, मेरे से ज्यादा ये काम आप लोगों का है, जो आपके काम आएगा। तो मैंने आप लोगों को रश किया था। अब आपके पास मजीद जो है 1 वीक है, ठीक है, आप देख लीजिए। हम ड्रॉप बॉक्स को बाद में ख़त्म कर देंगे, इसको अगर आपको यूज़ करना हो आप यूज़ कर सकते हैं। जो लोग नहीं डाल पाए मटेरियल, मैं डाल दूंगी, ताकि एक दफ़ा सब लोग एक दूसरे का मटेरियल देख लें। मैं चाहती हूँ आप लोग एक दूसरे के मटेरियल से भी लर्न करें, क्योंकि अभी तो ये फर्स्ट स्टेप है। इंशाल्लाह आप लोग बहुत सारे कोर्सेज करेंगे, और फिर इसके बाद आप लोग बहुत सारे कोर्सेज करवाएंगे भी।
थैंक यू मैम, इंशाल्लाह।
Okay, I must conclude because I have another session. I should rush towards that session. Thank you all, girls. Love you all. Allah Hafiz. We'll see you on Monday.
अल्लाह हाफिज।
अल्लाह हाफिज। इंशाल्लाह एक्स्ट्रा क्लासेस के बारे में देखिएगा। अभी आपकी एक क्लास है, मंडे की क्लास, ठीक है, अभी तो आपकी क्लास खत्म नहीं हुई ठीक है इलाफ, अभी मंडे की क्लास है, ठीक है। असाइनमेंट मिल जाए?
अस्सलाम वालेकुम मैम।
वालेकुम सलाम। असाइनमेंट दे दूं आज फिर कोई, आज पार्टी करनी है?
मैम आज पार्टी कर लेते हैं
अच्छा इलाफ, ऐसा
जी
कर
मैम, रहने दे, आज रहने दे।
ठीक है, बल्कि मैं तो सोच रही हूँ मंडे को कोई वर्चुअल पार्टी रख लेते हैं। ठीक है, कुछ करते हैं भाई, हमने बहुत पढ़ लिया, पार्टी होनी चाहिए।
यस मैम, यस।
ठीक है,
चलिए मैम, थैंक यू सो मच। इंशाल्लाह मैम फिर मंडे को जो भी क्वेश्चनिंग होगी तो वो फिर
इंशाल्लाह
इंशाल्लाह।
इंशाल्लाह।
थैंक
ओके,
यू मैम, थैंक
अल्लाह
यू सो
हाफिज।
मच।
पार्टी, यस
अल्लाह
यस,
हाफिज।
पार्टी चाहिए। अल्लाह हाफिज।